We are seeing more multiple offer situations. I know, like literally just 10 days ago, the whole market was asleep, but apparently everyone woke up over the 3-day weekend. And now we're seeing that you might, sooner or later, be in a situation where you're up against buyers who are willing to pay their own agents' commissions. Why would someone do something so crazy? I'll explain. And then I also have a couple other pieces of completely unrelated, but still pertinent information. So we're going to bounce around a bit. It'll be entertaining. It'll be interesting. Stick with me. What happens in multiple offer situations? Well, one thing's for sure, the deal gets a lot sweeter for the seller. The most obvious strategies is for buyers to start offering higher, maybe even above list price. There are other ways to stand out, like a faster close, being fully underwritten, a larger earnest money deposit, free rent back for the seller if they need time. We actually discussed all of the strategies to make a more competitive offer on an episode of Property Pursuits, so I'll drop the link for you. When it really comes down to it, though, the seller's bottom line is probably their priority, right? That's probably the most motivating thing is to walk away with more money. So far, we've seen a lot of nothing come from the hoopla of the NAR lawsuit when it came to realtor commissions. It's been business as usual. I can tell you, I haven't closed one deal yet where the buyer had to pay their own agent. But this week I had a deal where we had to ask for less credit because we also needed the seller to pay buyer's agent commissions. And the deal got countered where the seller came back to us and we accepted with the buyer's agent commission being reduced from 2.5% to 2%. So it's beginning. If you have two offers, both at the same price, but one in which the buyers are willing to pay their own agent, meaning you keep more of your proceeds, which offer would you take? Now, you might be thinking, well, why not just offer more on the price so that the seller can still net enough even after paying your agent? The problem here is we'll run into appraisal issues. The listing agent will advise their client that, hey, this offer above list price, it looks good and all, but if the property doesn't appraise, they're going to have the ability to back out and get their earnest money back. That doesn't make a seller feel all that confident. So what should you do if you find yourself in this situation? If you're competing with, or if you're a realtor who has clients in this position, here's what you need to know about paying an agent's commission. It can't be financed. This is first and foremost. This is considered a closing cost, and closing costs can't be added to the balance of your loan. So you will have your down payment, your typical closing costs like title fees, inspections, bank fees. Those usually add up to about 2 to 3% of the sales price. You'll have your down payment, your closing costs, and then your realtor's commission due out of pocket. Or second, if the comps do, comparable sales of similar properties that have sold in recent months, support a higher price, you could consider offering more so that the seller can pay your agent and still net the same amount of money. This is risky, as I just explained, but still worth trying before you give up. The third thing you could do is you could, in some situations, reduce your down payment. So if you were planning on putting 10, 15, 20% down, you could put less down, finance more, and set aside the money needed to pay your realtor yourself, which may be worth it to lock down the house that you love when you know the terms, meaning you know what prices are like right now and you know what interest rates are like right now. We're still seeing properties sit, guys, so I don't want you to think that I'm alluding to the fact that every house is a multiple offer situation and people are going to have to start paying their own agents' commissions. I just had this deal come up where it was brought up for the first time, and I think it's important for us to know our options and how to deal with this. Next topic, week 1 of Trump 2.0. So much to cover. So little sanity left to do so. Allow me to focus just on Trump's demands for lower interest rates. Yesterday, citing lower oil prices, President Trump said he wants the Federal Reserve to cut rates. He actually said he will demand it because he knows much better about interest rates than they do. Specifically, Jerome Powell. Trump appointed Jerome Powell in his first term, but that's neither here nor there. Regardless of my politics, lower interest rates would be swell, as long as we don't end up in the same situation we did during his first term when he pressured them to hold interest rates at zero for a really long time, and we ended up in this exact war on inflation. The Fed meets next week. Last topic, I found and learned, well, let me just tell you, isolation is the number one driver of behavior. I was talking to a psychiatrist on a wild Friday night at Urban Air, a psychiatrist, not my psychiatrist. I don't have a psychiatrist yet. She's the mom of one of my son's friends, and we were at a 7-year-old's birthday party. I was talking about behavioral finance. Surprise, surprise. It is really interesting and sad, but interesting to consider the mess my generation has gotten themselves into simply trying to keep up with the Joneses. And now they have an insane amount of credit card debt and buy now, pay later programs backing up, all out of their desperation to just not be left behind from what everybody else was doing, which required money they didn't have. She said you see it all the time, actually, that people's fear of being alone or left behind or isolated being the main driver of their decisions, even against logic and often to the point of harm. Chasing acceptance doesn't lead to community. Don't worry, though. I'll help you find community in a much healthier way at Mortgage of Mimosas on Valentine's Day or at the Features Female in March. Tickets are on sale now.